Hey Commanders fans, tune in because we have exclusive news that you can't miss. Here on the channel you will find everything about our team, with the latest information and everything you need to know firsthand. So, subscribe to the channel, activate the bell, and leave a like to strengthen our community and show that Commanders fans are always together and present. Now, without further ado, let's go straight to today's news. 5 free agents who could reunite with Commanders GM Adam Peters in 2025. Adam Peters has made a significant impression during his first season as the Washington Commanders general manager. Building on the team's superb early success is next on his list of goals. Peters came to the Commanders with professionalism, collaboration, and purpose. He replaced about 2/3 of Washington's playing staff in pursuit of improvements. It was a turbulent offseason that left fans more excited than ever. The progress was expected. No one expected the Commanders to make it to the Final Four and come within one game of the Super Bowl. That puts Peters in a strong position entering his second draft period. The Commanders have plenty of salary cap space to utilize. They also have 7 draft picks. There's optimism for the future, and Washington is an attractive destination once again. If the front office leader can master his personnel decisions, his team could be among the favorites to win the Super Bowl next time around. How Peters goes about his business is crucial. The Commanders will leave no stone unturned. There will be no sentiment attached to the process. The former San Francisco 49ers executive may also turn to some familiar faces to help him along the way. With that in mind, here are 5 free agents who could reunite with Peters in Washington this offseason. Free agents who could reunite with Commanders GM Adam Peters in 2025. Washington COS may consider signing Talanoa Hufanga. The Washington COS do not have an immediate need at safety, but that scenario could change depending on Jeremy Chinn's future. The defensive back, who joined the team this offseason, has found an ideal environment under head coach Dan Quinn and defensive coordinator Joe Witt Jr. Given that, a contract extension with Chinn before free agency opens would be the ideal scenario to maintain solidity in the secondary. However, if negotiations do not progress as expected, the COS may need to explore alternatives on the market, and one name that deserves attention is safety Talanoa Hufanga. Despite dealing with injuries in recent seasons, Hufanga has already proven himself to be a high-level talent in the NFL. The 49ers defensive back was named an All-Pro in 2022 and has established himself as an extremely vocal player capable of impacting both in coverage and against the run game. At 25, he is still entering the prime of his career and could provide a distinct presence on Washington's defense. There is also one factor that could favor this potential move. Adam Peters, the current general manager of the Commanders, was directly involved in drafting Hufanga in the 2021 draft when he was still a member of the San Francisco 49ers front office. At the time, they often overlooked talent at safety, but Peters and his staff saw a diamond in the rough in the 5th round. The gamble proved to be a good one, and now, if the 49ers decide not to re-sign him due to injury concerns, Peters could consider bringing in his former protege to boost Washington's defense. Regardless of Chinn's future, the idea of adding a 3rd high-level safety cannot be ruled out. The Commanders' defense is looking to become a dominant unit under new leadership, and having a talent of Hufanga's caliber could be a big step in that direction. Commanders could sign Javon Hargrave. The Washington Commanders need to shore up their defensive line this offseason. What they had was enough to defy the odds and reach the NFC Championship game in Coach Dan Quinn's first season. It wasn't, and won't be, enough to get them over the hump. Losing Sam Cosmi and Darren Payne was a blow that Washington couldn't effectively neutralize en route to a loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. That probably wasn't lost on Adam Peters, who has some big decisions to make on the offensive and defensive lines in the coming months. Washington's high-priced defensive line is rapidly disintegrating. Chase Young and Montez Sweat have been traded. Jonathan Allen's future is under a cloud. Some fans are also calling for Payne to be traded. That's not what Ron Rivera had in mind when he committed substantial resources to that area of the field. If the Commanders want to find an experienced player, taking a chance on Javon Hargrave is a potential option. He joined the San Francisco 49ers during Peters' last offseason with the club. Injuries limited his influence this season, which led them to release him as part of cost-cutting measures. Hargrave isn't getting any younger, so this would be nothing more than a short-term signing. But if he's motivated to silence his doubters, it's a risk worth taking. Washington Commanders eyeing Dre Greenlaw to bolster defense. The Washington Commanders may be eyeing linebacker Dre Greenlaw as a potential addition to the roster for next season. The linebacker position has been one of the team's weak spots in recent years, especially due to the neglect of former head coach Ron Rivera, which led to an inconsistent and often vulnerable defensive unit. However, that situation began to change with the arrival of Adam Peters as the new general manager. Peters moved quickly to strengthen that unit, bringing in two big names, Bobby Wagner and Frankie Luvu. The signing of this duo made an immediate impact on and off the field, elevating the defense to a much more competitive level. Wagner and Luvu not only delivered high-level performances, but they also helped transform the team's defensive culture. Both were selected to the All-Pro second team, a well-deserved recognition for the impact they had throughout the season. Additionally, his presence in the locker room has served as a catalyst to elevate the defense's collective performance, converting a former weakness into one of the team's main strengths. With Luvu under contract for 2 more years and Wagner seeking a renewal that could be finalized soon, the front office may consider adding more depth to the position to ease some of the burden of responsibility on the 33-year-old veteran. In this context, Dre Greenlaw emerges as an interesting name for the Commanders. Peters knows Greenlaw well, as they both worked together on the San Francisco 49ers. The linebacker, when healthy, is a high-level player capable of significantly impacting the defensive sector. However, his recent injury history raises some concerns. Greenlaw suffered a ruptured Achilles tendon during the Super Bowl and has struggled to fully recover since then. In addition, in the 2 games he has played since his return, he has suffered injuries again, which puts a question mark on his long-term durability. If Greenlaw can overcome these challenges and return to his best form, he could be an excellent addition to the Commanders' roster. Given his medical situation, there is a possibility that he could be available at a below-market value, especially if the 49ers choose to go a different route and part ways with his services. With undeniable talent and a track record of high performance, Greenlaw could be a valuable piece of Washington's defensive rotation, helping to further cement the evolution of the department under Adam Peters. Commanders could sign Aaron Banks. As previously mentioned, losing in the trenches became the catalyst behind the Washington Commanders' NFC Championship game debacle. The offensive line fell apart without right guard Sam Cosmi to rely on. That cast doubt on how many of the unit will return to their starting roles in 2025. That has more meaning when you consider that Cosmi could miss most, if not all, of the campaign after tearing his ACL with the Detroit Lions. Veteran center Tyler Biadasz should be safe. Brandon Coleman has long-term potential, but at which position is debatable. Nick Allegretti was solid, if not spectacular, all season. Right tackle Andrew Wiley seems like a candidate for a salary cap cut, given the savings involved. That means Peters should maintain a sense of urgency to improve the protection in front of quarterback Jaden Daniels. Someone like Aaron Banks is a free agent possibility if the money is right. The former second-round pick has 3 seasons of starting experience under his belt. Cosmi's injury and Allegretti's inconsistency indicate the Commanders need a plug-and-play guy who fits that mold. Banks has 1 sack and 25 pressures in 775 offensive snaps. He has played exclusively at left guard, so it also depends entirely on what the Commanders think about Allegretti's growth potential or how adaptable the potential addition is. The Commanders could sign Charvarius Ward. Adam Peters' most aggressive move thus far was a trade for cornerback Marshawn Lattimore. The general manager felt that his early resurgence in the starting lineup gave him an opportunity. He found the right track to bring the 4-time Pro Bowler into the fold. That trade didn't quite live up to expectations. Lattimore never looked healthy and missed time with a hamstring issue. It wasn't an easy situation, which is why Peters is giving him the benefit of the doubt. Mike Sainristil looks like a key piece after thriving as a freshman. Noah Igbinoghene has worked well in the slot and should get another short-term deal. For the Commanders to consider the next step, another prominent coverage presence is needed. Even though he had a bit of a down year by his typically high standards, someone like Charvarius Ward fits the bill. His competitive fire makes him a good fit for the locker room. He's a talented tackler and effectively mirrors opposing wide receivers. Those skills would complement what Lattimore, Sainristil, and environmentalist Igbinoghene bring to the table. There is one possible hitch. Ward is projected to command an annual salary of $15.3 million on a 3-year, $45.83 million deal, according to Spotrac. That might be a bit too much for Washington's blood, but he would be a tremendous asset all the same.